Alright, really hoping and praying that this thing is working. Okay, so here we go. Unit 7, test review. First problem we see here, hopefully you're thinking, two binomials. What do I do with two binomials whenever they are being multiplied together? And the answer there is FOIL. So let's FOIL this bad boy out. So we are going to multiply our first terms together. 4x times 5x is going to give me 20x squared. Then I do my outer terms. 4x times 2 is positive 8x. Then I'm going to do my inner terms right here. 1 times 5x is positive 5x. And then my last terms, 1 times 2 is positive 2. Now remember, in this step, our two middle terms generally will always combine. So I'm left with 20x squared plus 13x plus 2. And that would be my final answer, folks. I'm not going to do number 2, just like number 1. Just check out the test review answer key for that one. Now number 3, let's talk about number 3. Now this one we're multiplying a binomial and a trinomial. So it's going to look a little different. We're just going to make sure that everything gets distributed correctly. So I'm going to multiply this guy times this guy, which will give me 64. V to the third power. Remember, whenever we're multiplying things of the same base, we add their exponents. Now I'm going to distribute him to the second term. 8v times negative 5v is negative 40v squared. And then 8v times positive 4 is 32v. Now I'm not done there. I still need to do the second term, the 7, and distribute him to all parties. So 7 times 8v squared is positive 56v squared. 7 times negative 5v is negative 35v. And then last 7 times positive 4 is positive 28. Now I need to go through right here and combine like terms. I see I have a couple v squareds and a couple regular old v's. So now I'm going to go through and combine all of those. So I'm left with 64v to the third power, and then negative 40v. Okay, sorry about that. Alright, so I had 64v to the third power. Now these v squareds, these are going to combine. That's going to give me a positive 16v squared. And then 32v and negative 35v is negative 3v, and then plus 28. And there's our final answer. Alright, again, number 4 is very similar to that. Just make sure that you're paying attention. Like whenever you distribute this guy, it's going to be distributing a negative 2 to all guys. Alright, cool. Alright, this next part, it says to factor out the GCF of each expression. So this is the one where we're doing kind of the opposite of distribution. We're going to pull out one guy to the outside of the parentheses and see what's left over. So looking here at 2n minus 4, I'm trying to see what is the greatest thing that they have in common. So looking between 2 and 4, the greatest common factor there is a 2. And then I could potentially pull out an n. However, the negative 4 here doesn't have an n, so I can only pull out the 2. So let's do that. I'm going to pull out this 2. What am I going to be left with here? 2 times what will give me 2n? And hopefully you're thinking n. And then 2 times what will give me negative 4, and that's negative 2. Now I want you to pause after you do this. This is how you can always check to see if you're right, guys. Redistribute it. 2 times n is 2n, and then 2 times negative 4 is negative 4. So we're good to go there. Now, I'm not going to work through all of these guys, but I'll go ahead and do number 7 with you guys also. So first I want to see what is my greatest common factor between 8 and 40. Now, you can think of a couple different numbers. I'm seeing like a 2, maybe a 4. What about an 8? I'm not sure. So if you're unsure, remember to go to your calculator, go to math, over to number, and it's option number 9 where it says GCD. Remember, you can't put in a negative here, but I just want to see what is the greatest common factor between an 8 and a 40. So 8 comma 40, enter, and the GCF is an 8. Okay, so that means I'm going to factor out an 8. However, what is my leading term here? It's a negative 8. Remember, if your leading term, only if your leading term is negative, you're going to factor out that negative, okay? And then I'm also going to take a step back and say, well, hey, all of these guys have at least one v in common, so I'm going to pull him out too. So now I'm looking negative 8v times what would give me negative 8v squared? And that's going to be v to the 6th power. So I took away one of his v's out here. I have 6 left over in here. Negative 8v times v to the 6th will give me negative 8v to the 7th. All right, and then right here I'll be left with a negative 5v and then a negative 1. All right, pause here and redistribute. Negative 8v times v to the 6th power would give me negative 8v to the 7th. Negative 8v times negative 5 would give me the positive 40v squared. And then negative 8v times negative 1 would give me positive 8v. All right, 6 and 8 are very similar to those, so check out the answer key after you've practiced those on your own. All right, on these ones are the factor by grouping. So these are the fun ones where there's lots of steps involved. I'm only going to work through 2 of these with you guys. So let's look at number 9. So looking at your steps, okay, remember we go step by step with these things. My first thing is to multiply first by last, and then I'm going to come up with my t-chart. First times last is negative 30. And then my middle term here is not just x, but it's a 1x, and we're just going to take the 1 from him. So now I'm trying to figure out what 2 factors of 30 will multiply to give me negative 30, but add to give me positive 1. Okay, again, your calculator can come in handy. I want to go see my factors of 30, so I'm going to do 30 divided by x and go look at my table. So now I'm seeing who might have a difference of 1 somehow whenever I add them. So 2 and 15, maybe not. 3 and 10, no. 5 and 6, okay? This is kind of ringing a bell because I see that they have a difference of 1 there. So 5 times 6 will give me 30. But which combination will get positives and negatives will give me and leave me with this positive 1x? And hopefully you're thinking negative 5 and a positive 6. Negative 5 plus 6 gives me positive 1. Negative 5 times 6 gives me the negative 30 I'm looking for. So now I'm going to rewrite my middle terms. So this was 2x squared. And before he was 1x, he was negative 5x and positive 6x. And then we have the negative 15. Now in this step, we got to go and throw up our parentheses. Remember, leave no man behind. Everything is going to get included in there. And now I need to factor out the GCF. So what is the highest number between 2 and negative 5 that they have in common? Hopefully you're thinking a 1, okay? They also have an x in common. So I'm going to factor out an x. I'll be left with 2x here minus 5. X times 2x is 2x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. Moving next door over here, remember if this was a negative 6x, I would need to pull out a negative from this guy, whether that's negative 1 or whatever it is. If the leading term is negative, you have to factor out that negative. However, this case it's not. I'm thinking common factors between a 6 and a 15, and I think 3 will do the job there. So I'm going to pull out a 3. 3 times 2x will give me 6x, and then 3 times negative 5 will give me negative 15. Now in this step, you have to check and see, are my parentheses the same? Are the things inside the parentheses the same? In which case they are. If you get to this step and these are not the same, you have to go back up here. You did something wrong. So you need to pause and recheck your work. However, these are the same, so I'm good. I'm going to take what's left over on the outside, and he's going to become a factor. So x and a positive 3. And then these 2 identical parentheses, these will become my other factors. 2x minus 5. Now you're not done, okay? What is your last step here? Hopefully you're saying FOIL to check. Yes, FOIL to check. X times 2x is 2x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. Here I get positive 6x, which those 2 combine to give me the 1x I was looking for. And then 3 times negative 5 is negative 15, which is good. I have factored it correctly. I know I'm going to get 100 on this. I'm good to go. All right, let's try one more of these guys. How about we do number 10? Okay, so look at number 10. Same steps. I'm going to go first times last. And here's my little t-chart over here. All right, so first times last, 5 times negative 8 is negative 40, and then my middle term is positive 18. All right, so now I'm looking for two things that are going to multiply to 40, negative 40, but add to 18. If you're unsure, get your calculator, go y equals 40 divided by x, go look at your table, and now I'm looking who's going to add up to 18 here. My second one right here, 2 and 20. I think some combination of positives and negatives will give me 18, which is what I'm looking for. So 2 and 20, 2 times 20. Okay, who needs to be positive in order for this to be positive? And hopefully you're saying negative 2 and a positive 20. Those will add to give me 18, and they will multiply to give me negative 40. So I'm going to rewrite my middle terms. 5p squared minus 2p, don't forget to add your variable there, plus 20p minus 8. Okay, now pause here. Do these two things add to give me 18p? And the answer here is yes. Okay, now let's go in with our parentheses, leaving nobody outside of them. And now I need to factor out my GCF. The GCF here is going to be a p. I'm left with 5p minus 2. Double check real quick, 5p squared, negative 2p. Cool. Now 20 and negative 8. I'm looking for the largest number that fits into there, and that's going to be a 4. Okay, so 4 times 5p will give me 20p, and then 4 times negative 2 will give me negative 8. Are my parentheses the same? Yes. Okay, I have 5p minus 2 and 5p minus 2. They're the exact same, which tells me I'm on the right track. So I'm going to take what's left over on the outsides, p plus 4, and then this guy will be my other factor. So I'm left with p plus 4, and then 5p minus 2. I'm not done because I'm going to double check my stuff by foiling in the last step. P times 5p is 5p squared. Outer is negative 2p, and inner is positive 20p. So those things add to give me the 18p. And then my last is 4 times negative 2, which is negative 8. Woohoo! So this is our final answer there. All right, y'all try out numbers 11 and 12 on your own. Hopefully you'll get the right answers, and you can check the answer key for that. All right, let's look at number 13. Oh, I realize he is not on your screen. 1 second. All right, there we go. So here's number 13. The area of a rectangle is blah, 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 and the width is blah, blah, blah. Which expression best describes the rectangle's length? Okay, so hopefully you're thinking, okay, well, the area of a rectangle, I know that the area of a rectangle is length times width. So area equals length times width. And they gave us the area, and they gave us the width. So I need to solve for the length. Well, I know I can manipulate this problem to solve for the length. Right here, this is saying length times width is equal to A. So if I'm solving for L, I'm going to divide both sides by W and divide by W. So now I'm left with the length is equal to the area divided by the width. And now I'm going to plug in my stuff. There's another option too. You could just take your width and multiply it by each of these lengths and see who's going to give you your area. So that's your other option. So I'm going to plug in what I'm given. I was given 3x squared for my area, plus 14x plus 8. And I was given the width, so I'm going to divide it by x plus 4. Okay, and this is equal to the length. So now I'm going to use my... Okay, if you want to work from it from this step, sorry, I should have thought about this a little bit before I started. But if you can work from it from this step, sort of. If you want, you can use your exponent rules. However, I think that's going to be a little bit trickier than what I'm looking for. So I'm actually going to rewind a little bit, and I'm going to erase this stuff. What I'm going to do is just multiply it, kind of that second option. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my width, and then I'm going to multiply it by these different lengths to see who's going to give me this area. So x plus 4, x plus 4. Okay, and now it's kind of like I'm just foiling these guys. I'm going to see who's going to give me that 3x squared that I'm looking for. So right off the bat, I'm looking at g and h, and I see whenever I do my first terms, I'm going to get 2x squared, right? 2x times x is 2x squared. Well, over here my area says it's 3x squared. So I'm going to eliminate g, and then the same thing's going to happen for h, so I'm going to eliminate him too. Now I'm kind of stuck between these two guys. So I see that both of my first terms will multiply together to give me the 3x squared I'm looking for. And now I'm going to do my outer terms. I get positive 12x. My inner terms, I get positive 2x. And then my last terms, I get positive 8. Okay. And then right here, I'm already seeing that these two guys are going to combine to give me the 14x I'm looking for. So f is probably going to be my answer, but I'll just double check to verify down here. 3x times x is 3x squared. My outer is going to give me a positive 12x. My inner will give me a negative 2x, and then a negative 8 at the end. So a couple things are wrong with this answer. One, this is negative 8, which I need them to be positive 8. And two, this is these will combine to give me 10x, which I need 14x. So he's not going to work either. So F is our answer there. All right, I'm not going to do 14 all the way with you, but hopefully you're thinking, okay, area for a rectangle. This is area is equal to length times width. So ultimately, again, all we're doing is multiplying your two binomials. So we have length times width. And then you're going to FOIL those two things out, okay? Check the answer key for that one. Looking at number 15, a rectangle has a length of 2x plus 1 and a width of 5x minus 4, which best represents the area of a rectangle. So it's the same problem again, you guys. All we're going to be doing is multiplying our length times our width, which essentially is just foiling. So get your FOIL game on. Right off the bat, I see 2x times 5x, which is 10x, so it's not going to be 10x squared, actually. So it's going to have to be between h and j, and I'll let you figure that one out. And then the favorite part is our review down here. Number 16, which equation best represents the line graph below? Okay, let's not forget about our y equals mx plus b stuff. So here, I'm just going to write my equation in y equals mx plus b form since I can clearly see what it is. So my y-intercept is at negative 5. So I'm looking for this. So far I have this. I got my negative 5 for my y-intercept. Now I need to figure out what my slope is. So I'm going to pick 2 points that are at a nice little cross section, and I'm going to do rise over n. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that I just went up 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then over 7. So I just rise over run. I rose 4 and I ran 7, up 4 over 7. So my slope is going to be 4/7 x. Okay, so this is the equation I'm looking for. Now, obviously, all of these guys are in standard form. So what do I need to do there is to solve each of these things into my y equals mx plus b format and see who's going to give me this guy. So I'm going to let you guys do that, but just a little helpful hint. See how on the bottom my denominator is 7? Well, that means that this guy was originally with my y, right? And the last step is whenever we divide. So that means there originally was a 7 with my y. So that means it's going to eliminate a couple of these guys, these two in particular. So I'll let you guys go through, figure out who's it going to be. Make sure in this step that you divide by the negative 7, okay? And then the last one down here, number 17. Which mapping best represents the function y equals 2x squared plus 1 when the replacement set for x is blah, blah, blah. So basically what this is saying is which is the domain and range, or if y'all can remember those maps. So what I'm going to do is take my equation, y equals 2x squared plus 1. And then these things, the set for x, which means that these are my x values. So what I'm going to do is make a little table real quick, x and y. So this is negative 1, 0, and 3. So I'm going to do these things, and I'm going to plug in my x values there for x. So I'll have like 2 times my x is negative 1 squared plus 1, 2 times 0 squared plus 1, and then 2 times 3 squared plus 1. All right, and I'm actually going to just do these ones in my head. Negative 1 times negative 1 is going to give me a positive 1. 2 times positive 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, 0 squared is 0, 2 times 0 is 0, and then I have this plus 1 left over, 0 plus 1, and then 3 squared is 9, 2 times 9 is 18, 18 plus 1 is 19. Okay, or you can just throw these up in your calculator real quick. So, oh, whoa, so I could do, get out of here, 2 times negative 1, come on, 2 times negative 1 squared plus 1. And you can see there it gives me 3. And you can do that for all of those guys. So now I'm looking to see which one of these maps is correct. I'm looking for my x values. Okay, first I'm going to eliminate this guy because he has the wrong x values. The rest of them have the correct x values. Now who has the correct y values? I'm looking for 3, 1, and 19. And negative 1 goes to 3. So up here on this one, I see negative 1 going to 1. That's not correct. Over here, negative 1 goes to 3. 0 goes to 1, and 3 goes to 19. He's looking good. And then these have all the wrong y values anyway, so they're gone. So D is going to be my final answer there. Woohoo! Alright guys, hopefully you're feeling real jazzed up about your test. I hope y'all are going to do so great, and those of you who are watching are going to, you're going to have a leg up on the people who are being lazy and not watching these things, so I'm really proud of you guys. Good luck on your test. Woo!